Cheating wife begs take her back when she found out I became a millionaire. I never thought my life would take the turn it did, but sometimes karma works in mysterious ways. Here's my story. The betrayal. My ex-wife, Sarah, and I had been together for 10 years. We started out as a team, struggling through life, scraping together what we could to pay bills. I worked 2 jobs while she pursued her dream of opening a boutique. I was more than happy to support her. I loved her. At least, I thought she loved me too. But things started to change when Sarah's business took off. She became distant, often staying late at work or spending weekends on business trips. I chalked it up to her ambition and the pressures of success. Little did I know, those late nights weren't spent with clients or at trade shows. One evening, I came home early from my shift at the factory and found her sitting on the couch with her phone in hand, giggling. Her smile faded as soon as she saw me. Something fell off, so I decided to check her phone later that night, while she was asleep. What I found shattered me. Messages, pictures, videos. She'd been seeing someone else, a guy named Mark. He was a flashy, smooth-talking real estate agent who seemed to have everything I didn't: money, charm, and confidence. When I confronted Sarah, she didn't even deny it. "You're just stuck, Jack," she said coldly. "Mark understands me in a way you never could." I was devastated. The woman I'd given everything to, sacrificed for, had discarded me like I was nothing. She filed for divorce soon after, claiming she needed to be free. The turning point. The divorce hit me hard. She took the house, some of our savings, and left me in debt. I was sleeping on a friend's couch, working overtime just to survive. But I refused to stay down. I channeled my anger and pain into something productive. For years, I'd been passionate about coding and programming, a hobby I never had time to fully pursue. With nothing to lose, I decided to dive into it. I spent every spare moment learning, building apps, and developing software. After a year of hard work, I struck gold. A simple app one created for small businesses went viral. Within months, investors were lining up, and before I knew it, I sold the app for $8 million. Just like that, my life transformed. I bought a new house, invested wisely, and started living a life I never dreamed of. The comeback. Fast forward 2 years, and I was no longer the stuck guy Sarah had left behind. I was attending a charity gala when I ran into her. She looked shocked to see me, dressed in a tailored suit, laughing with influential people. "Jack," she stammered, her eyes wide. "Oh, Sarah," I said, pretending to be surprised. "It's been a while." She looked different. The years hadn't been kind to her. Mark had left her for someone younger, and her boutique had gone under. She was back to working a regular job, living paycheck to paycheck. That's when the begging started. She followed me outside after the event, tears streaming down her face. "I made a mistake, Jack," she sobbed. "I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. You were always so good to me. Please, give me another chance." I stared at her, the woman who had once looked at me with disdain, now groveling at my feet. "Sarah," I said calmly, "you didn't just leave me. You broke me. And while I built myself back up, I'm not the same man you left behind. I'm happier without you. But we had something special," she pleaded. "We can fix this. I'll do anything." I shook my head and walked away. I didn't owe her anything. Not my forgiveness, not my time, and certainly not my success. The aftermath. Sarah tried contacting me a few more times, but I blocked her. I wasn't about to let her toxicity back into my life. Instead, I focused on building a future for myself and the people who truly mattered. The best revenge, I learned, isn't about getting even. It's about thriving in a way they never imagined you could. And that's exactly what I did after I blocked Sarah. Life only got better. It wasn't just the money or the success. It was the peace of knowing I had taken control of my own destiny. I had turned my pain into power, and there was no going back. a new chapter. I invested a portion of my fortune into creating a tech startup. The company grew rapidly, attracting some of the best talent in the industry. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about proving to myself that I was capable of so much more than Sarah or anyone else had ever believed. Through my business ventures, I met incredible people. One of them was Emma, a sharp, kind, and driven entrepreneur who ran a nonprofit for underprivileged kids. Emma and I started collaborating on projects, and over time, our professional relationship blossomed into something more. She was everything Sarah wasn't: supportive, genuine, and loyal. Emma didn't care about my money or status. She cared about the person I had become. For the first time in years, I felt like I could trust someone again. Sarah's last attempt. Months later, Sarah tried one last desperate attempt to get back into my life. She showed up at my office unannounced, carrying a small box. My assistant was hesitant to let her in, but I agreed to meet her, not out of curiosity, but because I wanted closure. "Jack," she started, placing the box on my desk. "I've kept this for years. I thought maybe it would remind you of what we had." Inside the box were old photographs, a watch I had gifted her on our anniversary, and a few trinkets from our time together. "I know I hurt you," she said, her voice trembling, "but I'm not the same person I was. I've changed, and I know you still care about me, deep down." I leaned back in my chair, studying her. She looked tired, her confidence worn thin by the weight of her own choices. "Sarah," I said, my tone firm but not unkind, "these things don't mean anything to me anymore. They're relics of a past I've moved on from. You made your choice when you walked out that door. I've made mine now. There's no going back." Tears welled up in her eyes as she realized there was nothing she could say or do to change my mind. She left my office quietly, and that was the last time I ever saw her walking out of that meeting. I felt a sense of relief, not because I had rejected her, but because I no longer felt anger or bitterness. I had finally let go of the past. Emma and I continued building our lives together. A year later, we got married in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. She became not only my partner in life, but also a key part of my business ventures, helping me expand into philanthropic efforts that truly made a difference. As for Sarah, I heard through mutual acquaintances that she had moved to another city and was trying to rebuild her life. I didn't wish her harm, only that she learned from her mistakes and found peace in her own way. Life has a funny way of turning things around. The pain of betrayal taught me resilience. The struggle of rebuilding taught me strength, and the blessings that followed reminded me of the value of self-worth. In the end, success wasn't about the money or the status. It was about becoming the best version of myself, surrounded by people who truly cared. Sarah had underestimated me, but I didn't let her betrayal define me. I defined myself, and that, I realized, was the ultimate revenge, building the empire. After Sarah left my office that day, I dove even deeper into my work and passions. My tech company was growing at an exponential rate, branching out into AI and automation software. We were creating tools that helped small businesses thrive, and in a way, it felt like I was giving back to people who were once like me, struggling to make ends meet, looking for a break. But success wasn't just about money. I wanted to use my resources to create opportunities for others. With Emma's guidance, we launched a foundation that funded underprivileged youth in learning tech skills. We hosted free workshops, built scholarships, and even started offering internships at my company. My story had started in pain and betrayal, but I realized that it could end in hope, not just for me, but for others. Sarah's spiral. Over the next few months, I occasionally heard about Sarah through mutual acquaintances. Things weren't going well for her. Mark, the man she had left me for, had drained her financially and emotionally before cheating on her with another woman. She had lost her boutique due to poor financial management and was now working as a clerk at a small retail store. It was hard to reconcile the image of Sarah now with the confident, ambitious woman I had once loved. I wasn't happy to hear about her struggles, but I wasn't sad either. I had reached a point where I didn't feel anything for her anymore, not love, not hate, just indifference. But the world has a way of coming full circle. The awkward encounter. One evening, Emma and I were out for dinner at a high-end restaurant celebrating a new contract we had just signed with a Fortune 500 company. Dressed in a sleek black dress, Emma radiated elegance, and I couldn't have been prouder to have her by my side. As we were finishing our meal, I noticed a familiar figure working as a waitress. It was Sarah. She looked shocked when she saw me, her face turning pale. She tried to avoid eye contact, but fate had other plans. She was assigned to bring the check to our table. "Hi, Jack," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. Her hand shook slightly as she placed the check on the table. I looked at her calmly, offering a polite smile. "Hello, Sarah." Emma, always perceptive, glanced between us but didn't say anything. How have you been?" Sarah asked hesitantly, her eyes darting toward Emma. "I've been great," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "This is Emma, my wife." Sarah's face fell at the word wife. She quickly muttered a polite, "Nice to meet you," and left before the conversation could continue. After she walked away, Emma asked, "Was that hers?" "Yes," I said simply. Emma reached across the table and took my hand. "You've come so far, Jack. Don't let her take even a second of your joy." I smiled, grateful for Emma's understanding. Sarah was a chapter in my past, one I had closed long ago. A chance encounter. A few weeks later, I ran into Sarah again, this time at a coffee shop near my office. She was sitting alone, staring out the window with a faraway look in her eyes. I debated whether to approach her, but ultimately decided to. Not because I wanted anything from her, but because I felt it was time to truly let go of any lingering emotions. "Sarah," I said as I walked up to her table. She looked up, startled. "Jack." "Oh, hi." I gestured to the empty seat across from her. "Mind if I sit?" She nodded, and I sat down. For a moment, there was an awkward silence before she spoke. "I heard about your success," she said quietly. "Everyone's talking about how you've built this incredible company, and, well, I just wanted to say congratulations." "Thank you," I replied. "And how have you been?" She hesitated, her eyes welling up with tears. "Not great, to be honest. I've made a lot of mistakes, Jack. Leaving you was the biggest one." Her voice cracked, and she wiped at her eyes. "You didn't deserve what I did to you. I was selfish, and I hurt you. I've regretted it every day since." I nodded, letting her speak. "I know it's too late to ask for forgiveness, but I just want you to know, I'm sorry. For everything," she finished, her voice barely a whisper. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. For years, I had imagined this moment, her apologizing, admitting she was wrong. But now that it was happening, it didn't bring me the satisfaction I thought it would. Instead, it brought closure. "Sarah," I said gently, "I forgave you a long time ago. Not for your sake, but for mine. Holding on to the anger and pain only hurt me. I'm in a better place now, and I hope you can find peace too." She nodded, a faint smile crossing her lips. "Thank you, Jack. That means more than you know." We parted ways after that. I walked away feeling lighter, as if a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying had finally been lifted. A life well lived. Years later, my life looked nothing like it once had. Emma and I had 2 beautiful kids, a thriving company, and a happy marriage built on trust and mutual respect. We traveled the world, gave back to the community, and created memories that would last a lifetime. Every now and then, I thought about Sarah, not with bitterness or regret, but with gratitude. Her betrayal had been the catalyst that pushed me to rebuild my life and become the man I was always meant to be. In the end, the best revenge wasn't just thriving. It was finding happiness, love, and purpose in a way she could never take away. And that was more than enough. As the years passed, Sarah became nothing more than a distant memory. I rarely thought about her, except when reflecting on how far I had come. Life with Emma was everything I had dreamed of, filled with love, laughter, and purpose. Our company continued to grow, our children thrived, and we made it a mission to give back to those in need. My life wasn't defined by Sarah's betrayal, but by the strength I found to rebuild after it. If there's one thing I learned, it's that sometimes the hardest moments in life lead to the greatest transformations. I didn't just survive, I thrived. And for that, I'll always be grateful. As my life flourished with Emma and our family, Sarah faded entirely into the background. The pain she caused had long since transformed into lessons I carried forward about self-worth, resilience, and choosing the right people to trust. Looking back, I realized Sarah's betrayal wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a far greater one. I had built a life of love, success, and purpose, proving that even the darkest chapters can lead to the brightest futures. And with Emma by my side, I knew I'd never look back again.